Hey there, deep diver. Got some big plans coming up? Maybe a presentation? Or a board meeting? Maybe even a sci-fi movie marathon? Well, today we're going deep on a concept that might just make you rethink your schedule, or at least make you want to grab a comfy chair, and a really, really big cup of coffee. We're talking about the heat death of the universe.
Yeah, it's not exactly a light dinner conversation,
Right.
but it is a fascinating and surprisingly relevant topic, even if it sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel.
Exactly. And to explore this mind-bending concept, we're diving into some sources you've shared, including excerpts from a Wikipedia article, a YouTube video featuring the brilliant physicist Katie Mack, and even a transcript of your conversation with ChatGPT. So get ready to unpack this idea of the universe's ultimate fate, why it matters to us tiny humans here on Earth, and whether you really need to reschedule that birthday party next week.
Spoiler alert, the birthday party is probably safe. But exploring the why behind that, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, let's jump right in. You actually started your deep dive into this topic
Yeah.
by asking ChatGPT for a simple explanation of the heat death. And I have to say, the chatbot did a pretty decent job summarizing it. It described the heat death as this ultimate state of maximum entropy, where energy is spread out so evenly across the universe that nothing much can happen anymore. No new stars forming, no planets colliding, no more delicious cups of coffee being brewed. It's like the universe just winds down and goes completely still.
That's a good starting point, but let's break down this idea of entropy a little further because it's often misunderstood. It's not simply about messiness or disorder, like your sock drawer exploding. It's really about the tendency for energy to become less and less useful over time.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How would you explain that in a way that even I can understand?
Think about a cup of hot coffee. When it's freshly brewed, that heat energy is concentrated and can do things like warm your hands or even power a tiny engine. But as the coffee cools down, that heat energy spreads out into the surrounding air. It's still there, but it's less concentrated, less organized, and therefore less useful for doing work.
Ah, I see. So in a way, the heat death is like the entire universe turning into a lukewarm cosmic cup of coffee.
That's a great analogy. Eventually, according to this theory, all the energy in the universe will be so evenly distributed that it can't fuel the processes that create stars, planets, or even life. Everything just reaches a state of equilibrium, a kind of cosmic standstill.
Okay, so now I'm starting to get a little nervous. How long are we talking about here? Is this something we need to worry about in our lifetime?
Not quite. You actually asked ChatGPT the same question, wanting a specific date for this cosmic shutdown. And like any good AI assistant, it provided a timeline based on our current understanding of physics. But it's not exactly your typical calendar reminder.
Yeah, from what I saw in the transcript, we were talking about timescales that are almost impossible for our human brains to grasp.
Exactly. In about 10 billion years, stars like our sun will start to run out of fuel and fizzle out. That's already a time frame that dwarfs all of human history. But then things get even more mind-boggling.
Okay, hit me with the really big numbers.
Around 100 trillion years from now, galaxies themselves will begin to drift apart, becoming more and more isolated. It's like the after party of the universe where everyone's slowly heading home. And then we reach the almost mythical Google year. That's a 1 followed by 100 zeros. By this point, even black holes, those cosmic vacuum cleaners, are thought to have evaporated away through a process called Hawking radiation.
Hawking radiation, that sounds pretty intense. What exactly is that?
It's a fascinating concept where black holes actually lose a tiny bit of mass over incredibly long periods due to quantum effects near their event horizon. Imagine it like a tiny leak in a dam. Even the most massive dam will eventually drain if there's a constant, even if minuscule, leak.
Wow, so even black holes aren't forever. It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? But you didn't stop there. You had to go and ask ChatGPT about birthday candles.
You're talking about that amazing thought experiment you posed, trying to imagine a birthday cake with 10 to the 100 candles. It was a brilliant way to highlight the sheer incomprehensibility of those timescales. Even ChatGPT struggled to keep up.
Right, it calculated that the candles themselves would weigh more than the entire observable universe.
All right.
And then you took it a step further, asking about the weight of the fire those candles would produce.
Using Einstein's famous EMC2 equation, it determined that the mass converted into energy from burning a Google candles would also be more than the observable universe. It's almost comical to even think about, but it does force us to confront the incredible vastness of the cosmos and the limitations of our own perception.
Okay, deep diver. I hope you're ready for this, because we're about to take things to a whole new level of weird. Next, we're hopping into the hypothetical time machine and see if we can get a glimpse of this ultimate cosmic end.
Fasten your seatbelts, because we're about to take a trip to the end of time.
In the transcript, you asked ChatGPT a fascinating question. What would you actually see if you could travel to, like, one day before the heat death?
Hmm.
Setting your hypothetical time machine for, as you put it, by one day.
Yeah, it's a question that really captures the imagination, doesn't it? Trying to picture that final moment before the universe reaches maximum entropy.
So what did ChatGPT say? Would we see like a dramatic cosmic explosion? Or a giant black hole swallowing everything up?
Not quite. ChatGPT painted a much more subtle and perhaps even more unsettling picture. It emphasized that this would be in the very final stages of the heat death, trillions upon trillions of years in the future.
So no more of those stunning images we see from the Hubble telescope, no swirling galaxies or brilliant nebulae?
I'm afraid not. According to ChatGPT, you'd be met with a cold, dark, and almost entirely empty universe. Imagine the faintest glimmers of light, from the last dying stars slowly fading away. Perhaps a few scattered black holes themselves on the verge of evaporation would remain.
It sounds incredibly lonely.
And quiet.
Precisely. ChatGPT highlighted the stillness of it all. No sound, no collisions, no grand cosmic events, just this vast, static expanse slowly approaching absolute zero.
Okay, I have to admit, this is starting to feel a little bleak, even for a Wednesday afternoon. But then, you did something I found really interesting in your conversation with ChatGPT. You asked about traveling to X plus one day after the heat death, almost like you were trying to outsmart the universe itself.
Well, I was curious, what if you could somehow skip over that final moment of entropy? Would you miss the official heat death? Could you even potentially jumpstart a new universe, having bypassed the grand finale?
Those are some big questions. So what did ChatGPT say? Is there a cosmic reset button we haven't discovered yet?
No.
Unfortunately, based on our current understanding of physics, the answer is no. ChatGPT clarified that the heat death isn't a sudden event, like a switch flipping off. It's a gradual process of energy dissipation that unfolds over unimaginable timescales.
So even if you could travel to one day after the designated heat death day, it would pretty much look the same.
Exactly. Still that cold, dark, and empty scene. No sudden shift, no dramatic change, from one moment to the next. Just the continuation of a process that has already run its course.
That's both disappointing and strangely reassuring at the same time. But I did notice that ChatGPT mentioned some pretty wild theories.
Yeah.
About what might lie beyond the heat death.
Yes. It briefly touched on the idea of cyclical models of the universe, where there might be repeating cycles of big bangs and heat deaths, almost like a cosmic heartbeat. And then there's the even more mind-boggling concept of multiverses, where our universe might be just one of countless others, each with its own unique set of laws and its own ultimate fate.
Those are definitely some rabbit holes I'm going to have to explore later. But back to our time machine dilemma. You had one final, very practical question for ChatGPT that I think a lot of us can relate to.
Yes. The burning question of whether the heat death would affect your time machine. If you happen to be traveling through time when it occurred, would it somehow, catch up to you?
Right. Like if you're zipping through time, could you outrun the ultimate end?
ChatGPT provided a really helpful clarification here. It emphasized that the kind of time travel we usually imagine, the kind we see in science fiction movies, involves traveling through time, not through the physical state of the universe.
So even if you're in a time machine, you're still subject to the laws of physics at whatever point in time you arrive.
Precisely. Your time machine, no matter how advanced, wouldn't be immune to entropy. It's like a universal condition, not a localized event that you can simply avoid.
So whether you're standing still or zipping through time, the heat death affects everything equally. No escaping the inevitable.
It seems that way, based on what we currently understand. Think of it like a slowly rising tide that eventually engulfs everything. No matter where you sail your time-traveling boat, the tide will eventually catch up.
That's a powerful image. And it leads us to your final question to ChatGPT, which I have to say is one for the ages.
You're talking about my very serious inquiry about whether the heat death would interfere with my wife's birthday party.
The one and only. You literally asked, my wife's birthday is next week. Should I still plan a party?
Well, when faced with the ultimate fate of the universe, it's important to keep things in perspective. And to ChatGPT's credit, it responded with a perfect blend of humor and reassurance.
It said, and I quote, "I think you're safe to plan the party.
A sigh of relief was definitely heard across the cosmos that day. Crisis averted.
Indeed. And ChatGPT's response highlighted a crucial point.
Hmm.
The heat death is so incredibly far off, on a timescale that dwarfs all of human existence, that we have plenty of time to focus on what matters now, to celebrate life, to connect with each other, and to continue exploring the wonders of the universe. While we still can. Speaking of which, we actually have another expert voice to add to this conversation, physicist Katie Mack. You shared a clip from one of her YouTube videos, and I have to say she has this amazing way of explaining complex ideas with such clarity and a touch of humor.
Yeah, she's a fantastic science communicator. And in this particular video, she really emphasizes that while the heat death is the most likely scenario for the end of the universe, based on our current understanding, it's a gradual process that unfolds over billions and trillions of years. We're not talking about a sudden cosmic, lights out. It's
Right.
more of a...
She also talks about how this gradual decline is actually driven by a force we're still trying to fully understand. Dark energy.
Right. She explains that the expansion of the universe isn't just happening, it's actually accelerating due to this mysterious dark energy. It's like someone stepped on the cosmic gas pedal.
And that leads to a universe that's becoming colder, darker, and emptier over time. As galaxies drift further apart and stars slowly burn out, everything spreads out and cools down.
Exactly. But here's the crucial point Katie Mack makes. Even though this process is happening, and even though we have a pretty good idea of how it will unfold, it's all occurring on such immense timescales that it really shouldn't affect, our day-to-day lives, or even the lives of countless future generations.
That's a good reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the mind-boggling enormity of it all and lose sight of the fact that we're talking about processes that unfold over eons.
It's a bit like worrying about the sun burning out while you're trying to decide what to have for breakfast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So deep diver, after this whirlwind tour of the heat death, from chatting with AI to exploring the frontiers of physics, how are you feeling?
A little overwhelmed, maybe, but hopefully also a bit more in awe of the universe we inhabit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it. It's humbling and awe-inspiring to grapple with concepts like entropy, timescales that stretch beyond human comprehension,
Mm.
and the ultimate fate of everything we know. But, as we've discussed, it's also a reminder of the incredible beauty and complexity of the universe, right now, in this present moment.
And even though the heat death might seem like the ultimate end, it's not necessarily the only story. Remember those speculative theories we touched on?
Yeah.
The cyclic universes, the multiverses.
Right.
Those ideas suggest that there might be something beyond the apparent end, some kind of renewal or continuation that we can't even fathom yet.
And I love that. It's almost as if the universe is full of endless possibilities, even when facing its own eventual demise.
It's a reminder that our understanding of the cosmos is constantly evolving. What we perceive as the end today might just be a transition to something else, something we don't yet have the tools to comprehend.
Well, deep diver, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the science of the heat death, grappled with its mind-bending implications, and even touched on some of the philosophical questions it raises.
And perhaps, most importantly, we've confirmed that your wife's birthday party can proceed as planned. No need to reschedule on account of entropy.
Absolutely. In fact, I think this whole conversation highlights how precious and fleeting our time is in this vibrant, dynamic universe.
So go enjoy that birthday party, ace that presentation, and maybe even watch a sci-fi movie or two for inspiration.
And while you're doing all that, keep pondering the mysteries of the universe. Who knows what incredible discoveries and mind-bending theories await us in the future?
Because even though the universe might be winding down, our curiosity doesn't have to.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.